Koala, what are you drinking today? Today I'm drinking tangerine. So good. Incidentally enough, this is really good if you just pour it in whatever you're cooking. I made this with chicken the other day. It was so delicious. Anyway, so I'm pretty sure the way this is going to work from now on is that I'm going to talk about all the books that I read this week, and then I'm going to talk about something in specific afterwards that is a little bit more important. So let's do this. Deadpool. I'm pretty sure I'm only buying this for the covers. I mean, look at that. He's fighting a shark. That is cool. Avengers. I don't really know what's going on in this. Avenging Spiderman. Now, I love Doc Ock as Spider-Man, but after Superior Spider-Man 9, I feel like I'm just waiting for him to be a bad guy again, and I feel like that's kind of what's happening here, and I'm not really sure I like it. Thor, God of Thunder. I love this book, and I hate this book. I love this book because it's so good. I hate this book because it's so good that every time I get done with it, I just want to read the next part, and I can't because it's not out yet. Batman and Red Hood. So they're continuing the whole Carrie Kelly thing. I can see that they're going somewhere with this. I'm not really a fan of her as like the next Robin or whatever, because as far as I can tell, she's just like a regular person. I don't think she could stand up next to a kid who's been trained to be an assassin since his birth. I hope she's not going to be the next Robin. I guess we'll see where this is going. Batman in this is still trying to find a way to bring his son back to life. I wish I could just tell him that, you are in a comic book and your son will probably come back to life at some point in time eventually, and you could just, stop worrying about it for now. Just because I want him to, be okay and not be so angry like he is. Which brings us to Batman. I need more beer. So this is an issue about Clayface. Now, I love Clayface. When I was like 4, I think he was my favorite villain because I thought he looked like ice cream. I even brought out this Clayface toy I've had since then. Anyway, he's cool. So Scott Snyder's been writing Batman for almost 2 years now, and he's about to write Batman for 3 years with what's happening next in the storyline. But the last 2 issues have revolved around Clayface, and it's kind of nice to see him write something that isn't like a million issues long, or that doesn't have a million tie-ins to go along with it. It's kind of nice to just read a Batman story that is 2 issues, no messing around or anything. Another thing I noticed in this comic is that there is so many Green Lantern comics coming out. Who's buying these? They've got Red Lanterns, Green Lantern, New Guardians. That's a new series, I think. They've got Green Lantern, obviously. They've got Larfleeze, whatever that is. I'm just like, I don't understand who likes Green Lantern that much to buy all these Green Lantern books. And I feel like, if it was me and if I was like, I want to learn about Green Lantern, I wouldn't want to get into 5, 6 different Green Lantern comics. It's just it's over my head. I don't understand, but there's so many. Anyway, this was a really good issue. They have this thing in here where Bruce Wayne is sporting the something that looks like the Batman Beyond suit. The guy he saves is like, "Why did you throw this away?" And Bruce Wayne says, "Because it'll be at least 20 years before this thing is cost effective." And I'm just like, you're Bruce Wayne. You're telling me Bruce Wayne is concerned about what is cost effective when it comes to Batman? I don't know. But it's nice that it's in there. I see people on the internet and they either Scott Snyder is just a genius. I love what he's done with Batman. He's a good writer. Everything he does is just freaking amazing. And then I see people that are like, Scott Snyder is not that good. Everybody's giving him way too much credit. His writing is not that good. I'm kind of in the middle about that. If you're giving this character, and he has so much good literature written about him through the years and everything, I mean, the best you can hope to do is kind of just stand up to that. And I think Snyder's, maybe he's not doing a phenomenal job with Batman, but I think he's holding his own, he's doing a pretty good job. So the next big thing I wanted to talk about was 0 Year. which is supposed to be the next big Batman story arc. It's supposed to explore Bruce Wayne's journey to being Batman in the New 52 universe. And for those of you who don't know, when DC launched the New 52, they basically said that superheroes had only started appearing in the DC universe for like the last 5 years, meaning that Batman has only been in Gotham City being Batman for 5 years. That was the premise as far as my understanding goes. And part of me is like, God, another origin story. I don't want to read this. But another part of me is like, I'm kind of looking forward to it. Because Scott Snyder, as well as anybody else I think who's writing Batman now, has adopted this philosophy that anything that has ever happened to Batman, whether it be on TV or in movies or in comic books, has happened to Batman. We can clearly see this in this issue when Bruce is using what could basically be considered the Batman Beyond suit. I'm not one to cling too tightly to continuity because, you know, I'm reading a comic book. I don't need things to make total sense to me all the time. I don't care about the timeline of events or whatever. I just want to be entertained when I'm reading my comic books. So when you take this idea that everything that's ever happened to Batman in any medium has happened to Batman in the Batman that you're writing, it just makes it, you know, entertaining for me. However, I kind of take issue with the idea that everything that's ever happened to Batman has happened to Batman within the span of 5 years. So what I'm kind of expecting from Zero Year is for Scott Snyder to kind of shed some light as to how all of this stuff has happened to Batman within the span of 5 years. I want to be explained how Batman went through 4 or 5 Robins within the span of 5 years. You're telling me he adopted Dick Grayson, Jason Todd died, Tim Drake became Robin, and then he found his son Damian and he became Robin too, all within the span of like 5 years. That's like a Robin a year, and that just like, I can't wrap my head around that. So that's what I'm kind of hoping Zero Year is going to be. I don't think that that is what it's going to be. I guess we'll see what happens. So that's all I have for today. Comment the video, tell me what you think, thumbs it up, subscribe, and I'll be back next week to talk about more comic books.